Waiting just 8 more years can unlock a 6-figure boost in lifetime Social Security income, yet pushing the claim all the way to 70 is a bet you'll snag a richer check, but only if you live long enough to enjoy it. Today, you'll nail the precise break-even year for 3 real benefits: $1,200, 0 cents, $2,000, 0 cents, and the max $4,018, 0 cents a month. And discover the sneaky earnings test rule that flips the math if you keep working. Quick challenge. Pause now and guess which filing age, 62, 67, or 70, puts the most total cash in a $2,000 0 cents FRA earner's pocket by age 85. And real quick, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a new video from us. Now, let's go! So how exactly is your Social Security check calculated? It all starts with your PIA, primary insurance amount. That's your full monthly benefit if you file at your full retirement age, which for anyone born in 1960 or later is 67. Your PIA is based on your highest 35 years of earnings, adjusted for inflation, then run through a formula with bend points that replace a higher percentage of your lower earnings and a smaller percentage of your higher ones. And once you start collecting, your check is adjusted every year with a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, which is tied to inflation. For 2025, the average retired worker benefit is $1,976, 0 cents per month. But depending on your income history, your number could look very different. Understanding this formula matters because every age you file locks in a different slice of it. Filing at age 62 is the earliest possible option to start collecting Social Security, but it comes with a big cost that never goes away. You're hit with a 30% permanent reduction in your benefit. That means instead of receiving 100% of your primary insurance amount, or PIA, at full retirement age, you only get 70% for the rest of your life. If you file at 62, you get $1,400, 0 cents / month, a 30% cut, but you start right away. Over 5 years, 62 to 67, you'll collect about $84,000 total. Over 8 years, 62 to 70, you'll collect about $134,000, 0 cents. But remember, that lower amount continues forever. So what's the trade-off? Compared to filing at 67, you come out ahead until age 78. Compared to filing at 70, you stay ahead until age 80. But if you pass away before those break-even ages, filing at 62 gives you more money overall. If you file at 67, you get the full $2,000, 0 cents / month. No cuts, no boosts. You missed out on $84,000, 0 cents you could have collected earlier. You'll need to live to at least 78 to make that back. Every year you live past that point is pure gain, especially when COLAs are applied to a bigger base. If you delay to 70, you get $2,480, 0 cents / month, a 24% increase for life. You skip 3 more years of payments, giving up about $72,000, 0 cents. You've now passed on $156,000, 0 cents total from 62 to 70. But your monthly check is now $1,080, 0 cents higher than the 62 filer. You break even with the 67 filer by age 80. You break even with the 62 filer by age 81, 82. Live to 85, you come out $75,000, 0 cents to $100,000, 0 cents ahead. Live to 90, you may collect $200,000, 0 cents plus more over your lifetime. That's what we'll dig into next. Filing at full retirement age, 67, is the baseline. This is where you get exactly 100% of your primary insurance amount with no reductions, no credits, and no penalties. It's the Social Security sweet spot. Your benefit is neither cut short nor boosted. If your PIA is $1,200, 0 cents, you'll receive $1,200, 0 cents a month. If you've earned the maximum taxable amount over your career and qualified for the highest benefit, your check could reach $3,500, 0 cents to $3,800, 0 cents a month, depending on COLAs applied before filing. For the first time, as of 2025, the absolute max benefit at FRA is around $3,822, 0 cents. File at FRA, and that's what you'll get. No haircut, no waiting bonus. The big advantage of waiting until 67 is that you avoid the earnings test entirely. Before FRA, If you're still working and earn over $22,320.00, Social Security claws back $1.00 for every $2.00 over that limit. But the moment you hit FRA, that rule disappears. You can earn as much as you want without losing a dime of your Social Security check. That makes age 67 a powerful milestone for anyone still working. You can file and collect, even with a six-figure salary, and Social Security won't touch your benefit. This is especially useful if you're easing into retirement or doing part-time consulting. But there are risks even at FRA. For one, you're still missing out on the delayed retirement credits that come from waiting until 70. An 8% boost for each year you wait after 67. Over 3 years, that's a 24% larger check. If you have a family history of longevity, or if you're the higher earner in a household, filing at 67 might mean leaving money on the table. There's also the tax trap to consider. If your combined income, which includes half your Social Security benefit plus all other taxable income, is over $25,000, single, or $32,000, married, your benefits start becoming taxable. And at $34,000, single, or $44,000, married, up to 85% of your Social Security is taxable at your normal income tax rate. Example: a single person filing at FRA with a benefit of $2,000.00/month and a $20,000.00 pension is likely to pay taxes on 85% of their Social Security income. That's a major reduction in what you actually take home. Now add Medicare to the equation. At 65, most people enroll in Medicare Part B, and premiums are usually deducted straight from your Social Security check. For 2025, the standard Part B premium is around $180.00 a month, but it rises if your income crosses IRMA thresholds, $103,000.00 for singles, or $206,000.00 if married. Filing at FRA means those premiums hit at the same time your checks begin, so your actual deposit might look smaller than expected. Bottom line, filing at 67 is the safe middle ground. It gives you full benefits with no penalties, no earnings test, and a reasonable tax position, but it's not always optimal. You miss the early liquidity of filing at 62, and you also miss the supercharged lifetime gains of waiting until 70. Filing at FRA is stable, predictable, and clean. But the real question is, are you aiming for short-term comfort or long-term payoff? Let's explore what happens if you have the patience and health to wait even longer. And you get rewarded for your patience with delayed retirement credits, an 8% increase for every year you wait after your full retirement age. That means by age 70, your benefit grows to 124% of your PIA. No other legal move gives you a guaranteed 8% annual return for doing absolutely nothing. Let's look at real numbers. The case A, PIA of $2,000.00 becomes $2,480.00/month at age 70. Case B, PIA of $1,200.00 becomes $1,488.00/month. Case C, PI near the taxable max grows to $4,340.00/month, the highest monthly benefit currently payable in 2025. That's the good news. A larger, inflation-adjusted check every month for the rest of your life. You also completely avoid the earnings test, which already disappears at FRA, and now have the flexibility to work, retire, or even semi-retire without worrying about income limits. The check comes in full regardless of what you earn. But the real value of waiting goes even deeper when you factor in spousal and survivor benefits. If you're the higher-earning spouse, filing at 70 locks in the maximum survivor check your spouse will inherit if you pass first. That's especially important in marriages where one partner didn't work enough to qualify for their own full benefit or earned far less over their career. By waiting, you're not just securing your own retirement, you're protecting theirs. But let's not sugarcoat it. Waiting has real risks. The biggest? Time. You only start collecting checks at age 70, 5 years after most people file. That's 5 years of zero income from Social Security. You either need a strong pension, a well-padded retirement account, or other savings to make that wait financially possible. If you don't have backup income, waiting may be theoretical, not practical. Then there's the break-even math. If your PIA is $2,000, 0 cents, and you file at 70 instead of 67, the higher check doesn't actually pay off until around age 79. That's the point where the total amount you've received overtakes the amount you would have gotten by filing earlier. So here's the harsh truth. If you pass away before that break-even point, you've overinvested in the system. You delayed benefits, gave up tens of thousands in early payments, and didn't live long enough to reap the rewards. You'll also take on COLA timing risk. Yes, COLAs apply to your delayed benefit. But if inflation spikes during the years you're waiting, you're not getting those increases. You're sitting out while everyone else's checks adjust up. Filing at 70 is a long game. It's for people who expect to live well into their 80s or beyond. It's for those who can afford to delay and want to lock in the biggest guaranteed income stream possible, especially for households that worry about outliving their savings or need to support a surviving spouse later. But it comes at a price. You give up 5 to 8 years of benefits, you have to front-load your own income gap, and if life doesn't go the way you plan, that money doesn't come back. So the question becomes, how much do you trust your health, your family history, and your financial cushion? Because filing at 70 is not just a financial move. It's a bet on yourself, on your future, and on time. So when does it actually pay off to wait? Let's walk through the break-even math, where total lifetime benefits from different filing ages finally catch up to each other. To keep it clear, we'll use a 2.6% average annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA, roughly what Social Security has averaged over the last 20 years. These numbers are adjusted to account for that compounding. Let's start with someone whose PIA is $1,200, 0 cents, a lower income earner. Now, let's talk about the one variable that makes or breaks every Social Security decision: how long you live. According to current actuarial tables, a 65-year-old man today can expect to live to age 84, a 65-year-old woman, age 87, and those are just the averages. But here's the twist. If you're healthy, if you don't smoke, and if you've had a higher income career with access to good health care, there's a strong chance you'll live longer than those averages. That's especially true for professionals and middle to upper income earners, groups that often outlive their statistical peers by 5-10 years. And that's where the math favors waiting. The longer you live, the more value you extract from delaying benefits. If you make it into your 90s, filing at 70 can mean hundreds of thousands more over your lifetime than if you filed at 62. Here's a quick gut check. Are your parents or grandparents still alive? Did they live past 85? Because longevity tends to run in families. If they reached their late 80s or 90s, there's a decent chance you will too. And if you do, that bigger check from delaying becomes a safety net that never runs out, no matter how long you live. Now let's look at how inflation quietly magnifies the gap between early and late filers over time. Social Security benefits are adjusted each year through the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, designed to help your check keep up with rising prices. But the size of your raise depends on the size of your check. Take a 3% COLA, which is close to recent averages. If you filed at 62 and received $1,400, 0 cents, a 3% raise adds just $42, 0 cents a month. But if you waited until 70 and now receive $2,480, 0 cents, that same 3% gives you a $74, 0 cents monthly raise. And here's what matters: every year that gap widens. Each increase is a percentage of your base, and the bigger your base, the faster your benefit grows. That's why COLAs don't just preserve value, they amplify differences created by your filing decision. But there's a problem. The COLA is based on the CPAW, a cost index tied to urban wage earners. That's not exactly reflective of most retirees. It underweights groceries, rent, and healthcare, things seniors actually spend more on, and overweights transportation and apparel, which many retirees spend less on. There's already legislation in Congress proposing a switch to the CPIE, a version tailored to older Americans. It would better reflect the real costs seniors face, but it hasn't passed yet. If you're thinking about working while collecting Social Security, the rules change dramatically depending on your age. If you're under 67, meaning you haven't reached your full retirement age, you're subject to the earnings test. In 2025, if you earn more than $22,320, 0 cents, Social Security starts withholding 0 cents for every $2, 0 cents you make above that limit. Here's what that looks like in real life. Say you're 63 and working part-time, earning $25,000. That's $2,680 over the limit, so Social Security will withhold about $1,340 of your benefits that year. That's money you won't see right away. It's essentially delayed until later in retirement after Now, once you hit age 67, that penalty disappears. You can earn any amount from wages, side gigs, or business income, and your Social Security check comes in full. No deductions, no limits. There's also a catch-up mechanism. Benefits withheld before FRA are recalculated and may be added back over time. But for most people, the short-term loss in cash flow hurts more than it helps. Planning tip: if you want to work before 67 and avoid the earnings test, consider delaying your claim until you either reduce your hours below the threshold or switch to self-employment, 1099 income, where you can deduct business expenses to lower your taxable earnings. The bottom line? Working can help stretch your retirement savings, but only if you understand how it interacts with your filing age. Just because your Social Security benefit goes up doesn't mean your net check does. Let's talk about taxes and Medicare, two things that quietly chip away at your monthly income. First, the tax trap. Social Security becomes taxable based on something called provisional income, which includes half of your Social Security benefit plus all other taxable income, like pensions, withdrawals, or side work. If your provisional income is over $25,000, 0 cents single, or $32,000, 0 cents married, up to 50% of your benefit becomes taxable. And if you pass $34,000, 0 cents, or $44,000, 0 cents married, up to 85% of your benefit is taxable at your normal income tax rate. So if you delay until 70 and get a bigger check, say $2,480, 0 cents, or even $4,000, 0 cents / month, you could tip yourself into the 85% zone. But here's the twist. Even with more of your benefit being taxed, you may still come out ahead because a bigger check, even after taxes, leaves you with more total income, especially if you're in a lower bracket, like 12%. Now add Medicare to the equation. At 65, most retirees enroll in Medicare Part B, which usually gets deducted directly from your Social Security check. In 2025, the standard premium is around $180 / month. But if your adjusted gross income is too high, you'll hit the IRMA cliffs, income-related monthly adjustment amount. Example, a married couple with $103,000, 0 cents AGI, hits the first IRMA tier. Suddenly, their Part B premiums jump, eating even more out of their benefit. This is where timing your filing can help. If you delay Social Security until after you've stopped working or reduced your taxable income, especially in early retirement years, you might avoid those IRMA surcharges and stay in a lower tax bracket. Bottom line, the size of your check is only half the story. What you keep after taxes and Medicare is what really counts. Social Security isn't just about your check. It can have a lasting impact on your spouse's future too. Here's the key principle. The higher earning spouse should strongly consider delaying benefits until age 70 because that locks in the maximum survivor benefit if they pass away first. Survivor benefits are based on the deceased spouse's full benefit, including any delayed retirement credits. So if you wait until 70 and your benefit grows to $3,200, 0 cents, or even $4,000, 0 cents, that becomes the amount your surviving spouse can step into for life. That's especially important if they earned less or didn't qualify for their own full benefit. And here's an often overlooked rule. Ex-spouses can also claim based on your record, as long as the marriage lasted at least 10 years, they're unmarried, and both of you are over 62. Their claim doesn't reduce your benefit, and when you file, it doesn't affect their eligibility. Your filing unlocks their access, but it won't hurt your own amount. One more detail. If you were born on or before January 1, 1954, you may still qualify for the restricted application loophole, allowing you to claim a spousal benefit first while your own retirement benefit keeps growing until age 70. But that window is almost closed. For anyone born after that date, the restricted strategy is gone. You'll be automatically paid the higher of your own or spousal benefit, not both. A takeaway? If you're married, divorced, or even widowed, when you file could affect someone else's financial future, not just your own. and that future could last a lot longer than you expect. To make this all real, let's walk through 3 actual scenarios. Different incomes, different health profiles, and very different choices. First, meet Linda. She's 62, a registered nurse, and her PIA is $1,200.00 a month. She's dealing with chronic knee pain, doesn't plan to work much longer, and doesn't have a big retirement cushion. For Linda, the decision is personal and urgent. Filing now would cut her check to $840.00 a month, but she'd start collecting immediately. If she expects her health to decline and doesn't think she'll live past age 78, then filing early may actually leave her with more total income over her lifetime. For her, liquidity and peace of mind outweigh the long-term math. Next, Carlos. He's 64, a self-employed contractor, and his PIA is $2,000.00. He's still working and making about $40,000.00 a year. If Carlos files now, the earnings test would claw back a huge chunk of his benefit, over $8,000.00 this year alone. Instead, he's waiting until 67 when that penalty disappears. In the meantime, he's adding 36 more months of COLAs, plus more earnings into his record. For Carlos, delaying is a no-brainer. His income is stable, his health is good, and he wants a larger check without any deductions. Finally, meet Pat and Jamie, both 60, married, dual-income professionals. Jamie earns more, with a PIA of $3,200.00, while Pat's is closer to $1,400.00. They're planning ahead. Jamie will delay until 70, locking in a much larger benefit. Pat will file at 67 and claim a spousal benefit, which could boost Pat's check to half of Jamie's, about $1,600.00/month. And if Jamie passes first, Pat steps into the full survivor benefit, inheriting Jamie's maximum check for life. This strategy doesn't just maximize their retirement income, it builds in long-term protection for the surviving spouse. 3 very different lives, 3 very different strategies, and the common thread? There's no one-size-fits-all answer, only the right answer for your reality. It's about how much money you walk away with in the end. No one can guarantee the future, but how you answer these questions, that's how you control the odds. At 62, you get the early money but take the biggest cut. At 67, you break even around 78 and gain long-term stability. At 70, you make the biggest bet, and if you win, it can be worth hundreds of thousands more. If this helped you see the numbers more clearly, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We break down Social Security, retirement, and real money math. No fluff, just facts that help you decide. More eye-opening episodes are coming, and you don't want to miss them.